we plan to promote synergies on efforts implemented on gender equity in energy access. Also, ECRI is building a West African network on gender and sustainable energy. This will provide a platform for sharing best practices and lessons learned from ongoing efforts in the region. In addition to this, through our work in investment promotion and advocacy, we are able to bring about the implementation of renewable energy and energy efficiency projects that contribute meaningfully to the lives of men, women, and the society as a whole. ECRI also advocates for women's participation at the policy level and at the project level. As a rule, ECRI strives to adopt gender-sensitive approaches in its interventions, activities, and programs to ensure that they meet the energy and development needs of men and women in the ECOWAS region equally. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, empowering women through energy access may take two forms. One is where through improving energy access, energy is made more available for income-generating activities. The other is where women are made active actors in the business of expanding energy access through renewable energy and energy efficiency market development. This conference is therefore critical and timely. Today we will listen to case study presentations from the countries in the Man River Union and the ECOWAS region on the productive applications of renewable energy and energy efficiency to enhancing women's entrepreneurship. Tomorrow we'll have an interactive session on how to mainstream gender in energy access at the policy and project level. And we'll also work collaboratively to develop the action plan for the Man River Union. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am therefore confident that this conference will provide impactful outcomes and contribute to achieving greater women participation in the Man River Union's energy sector. This will no doubt also be an immense benefit for the ECOWAS region. I look forward to the interesting deliberations that will take place here and wish you all a very successful conference. Thank you for your kind attention.
Statement from the call for urgent action for green economic development to ensure that this opportunity is not lost. And I think this body will be more than inclined to agree with you. ECRI has always had a very strong and proactive role in supporting ECOWAS countries, both in the area of renewable energy and energy efficiency, as well as gender mainstreaming. So we're very pleased that you're able to participate here and continue to look forward to your ongoing support. Let me use the opportunity as well to recognize the EU's contribution to this forum specifically, but also the EU is also a strong supporter of energy issues via the ECOWAS Secretariat and the ECRI itself. So thank you very much for your opinion at the House. Thank you. Next speaker is a good friend of mine, Dr. Yero Male. He is the resident African countries can go green without this debilitating
Your Excellency, Dr. Anis Koroma, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Dr. Sarankaba, Secretary General, Man River Union, Honorable Ministers and Members of Parliament from the MRU member states, Special Representative of the UN Secretary General, diplomat partners, conference delegates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. On behalf of the African Development Bank's President, Dr. Donald Kaberuka, let me first express my sincere appreciation to the government of Sierra Leone for hosting this conference. I would also like to thank the organizers, MRU, ECRI, and UNIDO, for giving the bank the opportunity to deliver a statement this morning. We are particularly delighted with the theme of the meeting, Women's Economic Empowerment through energy access in the MRU sub-region. The bank recognizes the pivotal role that access to energy can play in fostering the growth and transformation of our African economies, and also in promoting women's empowerment. The theme touches on an issue to which we all agree is of critical importance to our countries. That is why it sparked our interest, and my colleagues in the bank were highly enthused to co-sponsor the event and to carry it forward to concrete outcomes. As co-sponsor, I must thank you all, the political leaders and representatives of governments, development partners, civil society, organizations, policymakers, prominent women entrepreneurs, for joining us to reflect on the critical issues of accelerating the economic empowerment of the women of this sub-region through energy access. This is exactly the kind of coalition we need if we are to succeed. Mr. Chairman, the reason for focusing on women's economic empowerment through energy access is not merely because it makes economic sense, but there is also a clear developmental aspect linked to it. Evidence is now overwhelming that women who have access to opportunities are a positive force. In this regard, we are here to continue our task of harnessing that force for good. This is what inclusive economic growth is all about, ensuring that all citizens have equitable access to economic opportunities. For us, as Africa's premier development financial institution, promoting gender equality is a key building block for everything we do. To this effect, we systematically pursue gender mainstreaming in our operations spanning infrastructure development, human capital development, agriculture, and private sector support, among others. We are also aware that lack of household energy disproportionately affects women, as the productivity of their home-based enterprises depends heavily on this. To this effect, promoting access to reliable and affordable energy for women is therefore a critical development theme for Africa and the African Development Bank. Indeed, the Sustainable Energy for All initiative objectives are fully aligned with the objective of the bank's energy policy and the recently adopted 10-year strategy of the bank, which has the twin objectives of promoting inclusive growth and green growth. Mr. Chairman, the African Development Bank, in partnership with the African Union Commission and the NEPAD Planning and Coordination Agency, pursuant to a mandate from the Conference of the African Energy Ministers and with support of UNDP, will host the Sustainable Energy for All Africa Hub with the mission of coordinating and facilitating the development and implementation of the Sustainable Energy for All initiative on the African continent. The hub will promote African ownership, inclusiveness, and a comprehensive approach to the initiative's implementation. The official launch of the hub will take place at the end of May at the bank's annual meetings in Marrakesh, in Morocco. The hub will focus on 4 key tasks: facilitation and coordination of the development and implementation of the initiative in Africa. 2, contribution to the mobilization of the financing required to implement sustainable energy for all in Africa. 3, outreach, communication, and knowledge management. And 4, monitoring, evaluation, and reporting. The African Development Bank is also supporting UNDP and NEPAD with the development of guidelines for the preparation of the Sustainable Energy for All country action plans in Africa. These guidelines place particular emphasis on the appropriate inclusion of gender aspects. The hub will disseminate these guidelines once finalized. Furthermore, the bank supports the development of the African strategy for decentralized energy systems in recognition that universal energy access in Africa will require both on and off-grid solutions. The bank's Sustainable Energy Fund for Africa, which we call SAFER, is supporting small and medium-scale renewable and energy efficiency projects across Africa, and is currently developing into a multi-donor, multi-component platform. To this effect, I invite all participants to make use of this instrument. Already, Sierra Leone is making some headway in utilizing this instrument. I'll encourage other member countries of the MRU to make use of this facility. Mr. Chairman, let me underline that the African Development Bank fully endorses the Mano River Union Action Plan and is prepared to support the Union, ECRI, and other development partners with its implementation. The bank's initial support to the initiative is clearly manifested by the financial and technical support we provided towards the organization of this conference. The bank recognizes the critical role that the MRU and the other partners can play in ensuring access to sustainable energy in the MRU countries. In this regard, the Mano River Union Secretariat's catalytic role cannot be overemphasized, and as such should be commended for its noteworthy achievements. Mr. Chairman, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, let me end by once again thanking the government of Sierra Leone for hosting such an important event, which is a milestone in the history of the MRU region. I would also like to use this opportunity to reiterate the bank's continued commitment to promoting sustainable energy in its regional member countries in fostering regional social and economic integration. We believe that women's access to sustainable energy is critical to the development of the African region, and specifically the Mano River Union economy, as well as the success and sustainability of the Sustainable Energy for All initiative. On this note, I wish you all a very successful conference, and we look forward to insightful and fruitful discussions, knowledge sharing, and indeed the adoption of the action plan at the end of the third day. Thank you for your attention.
Comes from UNIDO. Many of you will be aware that UNIDO's Director General is a...
Your Excellency, Dr. Ernest Bai Krumah, our dear President, Republic of Sierra Leone, Honorable Ministers of Energy, Honorable Ministers of Gender from the Mano River Union countries, Honorable Members of Parliament, Excellencies here present, and Excellency Dr. Sran Darapa Kaba, the Secretary General of Mano River Union, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the Special Executive Representative of the UN Secretary General in Sierra Leone, Mr. Torberg Franzen, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the chairman has already explained why my boss, Dr. Kande Yumkela, is unavoidably absent from this very important gathering. As you all know, he is the chair of the UN Secretary General's initiative on energy. And he takes energy so important, not just because of UNIDO, but as an African, he believes energy is the main ingredient for development. And secondly, he also believes that if we have to develop as Africans, women, economic empowerment is a key, and that is why sometime last year, he signed an MOU with the UN Secretary for UN Women. Because he's not available, he asked me to represent him as well as to lead a delegation here today. And that delegation comprises of the Chief of the Competitiveness Unit, Ms. Neildon Tas. Please stand up for recognition. Will come from this conference. She also doubles as the chairperson for gender mainstreaming in industrial development. Mr. Chairman, please also permit me to recognize my dear sister, Ms. Nasu, who a very important point in the meeting in Accra. I was part of the team in Accra. And the meeting was a very high level meeting, but the representation of women was not at a level that depicts the importance of women vis-a-vis energy for development. So, for making sure that the lapses we had in that meeting, you have corrected it. And also, His Excellency for supporting my dear sister to ensure that the issue is elevated to the Mano River Union level. And we hope the importance that His Excellency has accorded to women and energy he will find time in his very busy schedule to elevate it not only to the Mano River Union, but to the ECOWAS region, because we believe he is a champion for energy in West Africa. Now, Mr. Chairman, we believe also that access to energy can provide women with employment opportunities by generating new economic opportunities and freeing up their time. Thus, we believe that utilizing technologies facilitated by energy access, such as low-cost domestic appliances, power water wells, drip irrigation systems, and labor-saving technologies for agricultural production and post-production activities such as grinding. Here in Sierra Leone, rice milling is a task done by women, which we believe needs to be eliminated, because the woman as a person grinding rice for an entire family of 8 to 10 people, that in the 21st century, I think, is unacceptable. UNIDO would like to congratulate all partners, namely the government of Sierra Leone, the Mano River Union, the African Development Bank, the ECOWAS Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, in organizing this very first important meeting on gender economic empowerment through access to energy. We hope this is not the first, but it will lead not only for sharing of knowledge, but it will lead to programs that will benefit the women, not only those in urban areas, but those in the rural areas, because that is where the need and the effect of the lack of energy is highly well felt. It is also known that about 2.2 or 2.7 million women die annually globally because of the inhalation of inhaling fumes from the kitchens. The introduction of efficient power stoves has been introduced in certain countries, and I hope this conference will look at that part of the recommendation to see how women in the rural areas as well as urban areas can have access to affordable cooking stoves, so that we decline the number of deaths, decline the number of women suffering from cancer because of the hazardous effect of smoke in the kitchens. Let me also acknowledge all supporters of this conference. We believe that energy and gender issues in the Mano River Union are key development threads, and that is why on our part in UNIDO, we have adopted a policy on gender equity and the empowerment of women. And through this, we have actually we didn't just put a policy in place, but have put a focal point that liaises with all other agencies to ensure that our activities in UNIDO mainstream gender. And we are also doubling our activities here this week in Sierra Leone, together with my colleague who is the chief of the competitiveness unit and the chairperson for gender mainstreaming, to develop a country program which is going to be gender sensitive, because that program was requested by the government of Sierra Leone with a caveat that they want UNIDO to develop a country program that is inclusive, that promotes inclusive growth, which means women will be a key beneficiaries to that program. UNIDO also recognizes that gender equity and empowerment of women has a significant positive impact on sustainable economic growth and sustainable industrial development, which are drivers of poverty reduction and social inclusion. We therefore look forward to the outcomes of this conference, in particular the MRU Action Plan for Women Empowerment through Energy Access. UNIDO fully endorses and endorses the action plan and is committed to work with all of you, particularly MRU and the government of Sierra Leone, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, to ensure that women have access to energy for economic development purposes. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Energy access to improve the lives of people, and it's not just for cooking and lighting, but especially for productive purposes. So we thank you very much for that. Before I move on to the next item on the agenda, let me take a minute to Madam Edward this week. Deputy Minister for Finance, Madam Magiti Erami. Thank you for being here. In fact, let me also just declare now that the conference is already a success, because I certainly feel, and I'm sure it's
Koroma, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Excellencies, members of government of the Mano River Union, member states, Your Excellencies, ambassadors and representatives of international organizations, I would like, with your permission, to beg the understanding of my staff who has written my speech in French. But everything in this speech has been already done and said, and well said, by Minister Coker, Nasu, Dr. Balde, Monica, and all people who have been here this morning in front of you. So, Your Excellency, I would say just thank you for coming today to this meeting. Thank you, because it is not usual to have head of state spending hours with women. But of course, I'm blessed to be the first female Secretary General of Mano River Union. In a country where the president is gender sensitive, and with a union chaired by a woman head of state. So that is why, Your Excellency, the song Mano River is for you and me is a very, very, very pertinent sentence today. We use women to talk about our rights, women's rights. I remember that since 1975 we are talking about rights. Take place before I leave the office. And he told me in which area you want really to achieve something. I said that having been in politics in my country, I have noted that to be participating politically in the management of the country, it is about money. And that I want really an economic empowerment of women, so that we cannot talk only about microfinance, but we wanted to talk about huge enterprises. And when Nasu came to me to talk about the initiative Sierra Leone wanted to undertake, I just told her that you, Excellency, have been already chosen by your colleagues to champion energy process in MIU Basin. So that I will be partnering with the government of Sierra Leone, but also with UNIDO to make this event happen. Thank you, Nasu, for giving the lead for that. But, Mr. President, why I'm particularly proud today to be here, it is because these women with the blue shirts, they are our pride in the sub-region. The barefoot women. They are our flag wherever we go. Because in conferences, in meetings, highly educated women think that they are alone representing their countries. You are better representing our countries than we do. Because you are demonstrating that we have been colonized through science and technology. We have to get freedom by science and technology. We have our own part to play in freeing our countries from poverty. And I don't like the concept, poverty alleviation. I don't like this word, Your Excellency. I think that we should eradicate poverty in Africa. Because we have been granted by God with a huge potential. We have some highly educated and skilled human resources. Now, the most important, we have political leaders who are committed for sub-regional integration, regional integration, but poverty eradication. So let we use the momentum now and right now, not tomorrow, to start working hard, to be together, to come together. I don't think that the barefoot women are only the pride of Sierra Leone, as I said. They are the pride of Africa. They are the pride for MIU, they are the pride of ECOWAS. And we should learn lessons with them. They are humble, but they are doing a lot every day. So let we come together after this meeting to have a very realistic plan of action. And I would like, before you, Excellency, talk to us, to recognize in this room the efforts of Dr. Yero Balde from the ADB. The efforts of UNIDO, ECRI, but also the effort for an institution which has not yet been involved in this meeting, but who will take probably a big responsibility in implementing the plan of action we will draw here. It is USA, Guinea and Sierra Leone, and I would like to recognize Madam USA, Guinea and Sierra Leone. She has come from Conakry to assist with that meeting to show the interest of the government of the United States of America for what we are doing. Who is sharing with us ideas. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, we need resources, financial resources, technical resources, but we need also ideas from other parts of the world. We must learn lessons from what has been done elsewhere so that we can do better. And I would like to say thank you to the entire staff of MIU for the support they are giving to my work. in this occasion especially, I would like you to give a big hand to one of my deputy who is not only very effective, but I can tell you that she is the one putting pressure on me on gender issues. This is Linda Koroma. Aisha De Massa, who is a program professor at the MIU. Jerry Taboro, and all the team of interpreters
of the Manor Union and perhaps ECOWAS, and most importantly, the most
Mr. Chairman, Madam Secretary General of the MRU, Ministers of the MRU, the ERSG, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, our development partners, traditional and religious leaders, representatives of the private sector, our delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the people of Sierra Leone and in my own name, I welcome you all to Sierra Leone. We feel very honored to be hosts of this seminal Mano River Union Conference on energy and gender. I am glad that we are focusing on women's empowerment through access to energy. Women's empowerment and energy access are two major national priorities for me and my government. So when in October 2012, my special advisor on gender and women affairs, in consultation with the Minister of Energy, briefed me and advised that the government takes the global leadership in hosting this very significant and historical conference, I immediately gave my approval. Delegates, over the next 3 days, you will hear about successful case studies from the Mano River Union and other ECOWAS countries. You will hear from the Barefoot Women Solar Engineers here in Sierra Leone, who, through their Barefoot College, have demonstrated a clear case for the positive benefits of energy access and women's economic empowerment. Access to energy has created multiple economic opportunities for these women and their communities. I encourage you to visit the college during your stay and have a special experience of what it is all about. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, to ensure that women's voices and priorities are not only heard, but also acted upon, my government has made gender equality and women's empowerment a priority pillar in my agenda for prosperity. Our core national development program during my second term. Under this pillar, there is a specific cluster on women's access to energy, especially new, renewable, and efficient energy. We believe that access to energy empowers women, ensures productivity, and enhances family health and improves the quality of life of a people. Our Mano River Union women, I salute you. I salute you all because in the midst of challenges over the generations, you have persevered. You have showed commitment, and you have continued to keep our families going in the best of directions. During our civil wars in the Mano River Basin, you stood for peace. You dragged the men into the negotiating table and commanded the nations to embrace democracy. Today, you are again blazing a new trail. With great energy, you are deliberating on energy. With powerful voices, you are discussing empowerment. And you are again bringing to the table matters of domineering importance. Only an unwise man would dare not to listen to the determined voices of women. I, as president of Sierra Leone, will listen, and I will act on your recommendations. This is the wise course of action. It is the better way to go if we are to be truly modern nations. We have heard from the executive director of the EPA that today we are cutting down old and young trees to provide for cooking energy, heating, lighting, food preservation, and many more of our basic needs. Women's time burden in accessing energy is a hindrance to their health, education, financial and social well-being. Cutting of trees has negative environmental effects: climate change, global warming, desertification, limited water resources. We therefore need to collectively address these challenges. That is why I am truly looking forward to some of the interventions that women in the Mano River Union will propose on this issue. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to create an enabling environment for women's energy needs, we should explore all avenues to accessing all forms of energy, including clean and renewable energy. Energy education must be enhanced to ensure that the wise choices should be made on the different energy alternatives available to women. Women should be involved in all aspects of the energy discourse to ensure a proper integration of their perspectives. That is why we look forward to this gathering with great expectations. Our governments, and I speak on behalf of the other heads of states who are not here, in the Mano River Union are waiting for the outcome of this conference to ensure that the desired and appropriate strategies are adopted to fulfill the women's long-standing aspiration for freedom from the burden of firewood and from the hazards of too much smoke in their kitchen. The time has come to assert these aspirations. We must act now. Promoting women's access should be prominent amongst the generation's contribution to the freedom and development of our nations. Let me conclude by extending my profound thanks and appreciation to our development partners, especially the African Development Bank, the UNIDO, the Global Environmental Facility, AfriCell, and all those others who have contributed to the successful hosting of this conference. My special gratitude goes to the Secretary General of the Mano River Union and the Secretariat for the leadership in organizing this conference and for supporting the government of Sierra Leone to be proud hosts of the first Women's Access to Energy Conference globally. I count on your continuous support and commitment on this very important program. Once more, on behalf of the government and the people of Sierra Leone, I welcome you all and wish you very fruitful contributions to this all-important topic. May God bless the Mano River Union. God bless you.
Agenda for sustainability.